What does it truly mean to talk to a woman and dominate her mind? Not like a desperate nice guy, but like a strategist who knows exactly what he says and why he says it. Most men make the same mistake. They speak to women from a place of need. They beg for attention, crave approval, and lower themselves without even realizing it. Then they ask, why does no one take me seriously? Today you are going to discover how to stop begging, how to eliminate that impulse to please and start speaking to a woman from power, not from lack. Because talking to a woman and dominating her mind is althal art, and only those who understand it become the kind of man she never wants to let go of. The difference was never in your looks, your bank account, or your degree. The difference is this: some men understand female psychology and others live confused, frustrated, and rejected. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn the Machiavellian method to speak with women like those who never beg, who never seek approval, and who ignite desire without pleading for a single thing. I'm going to teach you how to dominate her emotions through the way you speak, how to activate her deepest desire without even touching her, and how to make her see you not as a man to ignore, but as a man to obey and desire. If you are the kind of man who goes blank around women, if you feel like she is just waiting to walk away when you speak, or if you keep ending up in the friend zone over and over again, all of that is about to change. But first, like this video because you are about to hear secrets that 99% of men will never have the courage to apply. And if you stay until the end, I will give you a lethal technique you can use tonight to psychologically trap any woman in your game. And the most brutal part, she will not even know why. Why is it that some men can talk to a woman and mentally dominate her with just a few words while others get blocked, beg for attention, or are ignored like they do not exist? It is not about looks. It is not about money. It is not about luck. It is about knowing exactly how to speak to a woman and dominate her mind. And today you are going to discover how to stop begging, how to stop appearing needy, and how to become the type of man women cannot ignore. Because when you speak to a woman, you are not exchanging words. You are exchanging power. In the first few seconds, she is not listening to what you say. She is scanning what you project. If you are insecure, she will feel it. If you are anxious, she will see it. If you are trying to impress her, she will know. And worst of all, if she senses you are fighting for her attention, you have already lost. Because the one who holds power in a conversation is the one who does not need validation. That is why the men who truly dominate do not try to be liked, do not try to be funny, do not try to seem interesting. They simply express themselves as if their truth is enough, and that is magnetic. Most men speak to women from a position of submission. They want to be liked. They want to make her laugh. They want to entertain her. They want to prove they are worth it. Do you realize how pathetic that sounds? If you have to convince her, then you are already beneath her. And if you are beneath her, she will never desire you. Desire is not sympathy. Desire is not affection. Desire is attraction to someone who threatens her ego. Yes, a threat. Because women are not drawn to what they control. They are drawn to what they cannot predict. A man who speaks without a filter, who does not try to please, who moves by his own logic, he is an anomaly. And the anomaly is irresistible. Now let me say it without anesthesia. When you speak like a needy man, you behave like a child. And when you act like a child, she sees you as a brother, not a man. And you do not want to be her friend. You do not want to be her therapist. You do not want to be her emotional teddy bear. You want to enter her mind and make her think of you even when you are not around. And that only happens when you're not impressed by her. Her beauty does not intimidate you. Her indifference does not affect you. And her attention is not your reward. When you reach that state, she changes the game. She starts chasing you. She begins justifying her texts. She starts working to keep your interest. And that is the first sign of dominance. When you are no longer the one trying to prove something, she is the one trying to prove herself to you. But to reach that point, you need to kill the needy man inside you. The one who explains himself, the one who is afraid to offend, the one who puts a woman on a pedestal just because she is pretty. She does not want an emotional servant. She wants a man who challenges her, who makes her feel that her beauty is not enough, who activates her mind. And you can be that man, but first you need to understand something. You are not speaking to a woman. You are speaking to her ego. And her ego is programmed to detect imposters. So when you enter with fear, with doubt, with anxiety, she knows. And even if she does not say it, she discards you. But when you enter with clarity, calm, and inner dominance, even if you are not the most handsome, even if you are not tall, even if you're not rich, she will feel it. And that will confuse her because she will not understand why she cannot control you, why she cannot label you, why you do not react like the others. And in that confusion, desire is born. Desire is not created by giving answers. Desire is created by leaving questions. And that is exactly what you are going to learn to do. Speaking to a woman is not just using words. It is about sending signals, playing with symbols, activating her subconscious. Machiavelli knew this. He understood that the most powerful language is not direct. It is the language that confuses, seduces, forces her to interpret. Because what must be interpreted is what gets desired. When you speak in a straight line, logical, predictable, you become boring. She already knows what you're going to say. She knows you want her to like you. She knows you are playing in her territory. But when you speak with ambiguity, when you use pauses, silences, glances, irony, you awaken her primal side. And that part of her does not seek logic. It's extension. It seeks stimulation. It seeks what it cannot fully understand. That is where desire lives. You cannot generate desire by explaining that you are a nice guy. You cannot generate desire by telling her you like her. You cannot generate desire by constantly validating her. Desire is emotional confusion. It is contradiction, unresolved tension. And for that tension to exist, you must learn to speak like a man who has options. Like a man who is not seeking approval, but observing, not chasing. Your tone matters more than your words. Your rhythm matters more than your story. Your energy matters more than your compliments. Because when you speak slowly, calmly, with control, she feels it. And that calmness makes her nervous. Because it is not the calm of submission. It is the calm of domination. Many men believe talking to a woman means being funny, interesting, having topics prepared. Wrong. Speaking to a woman, if your goal is to seduce her, means transmitting power without having to prove it. It is speaking with intention. It is speaking with presence. It is speaking knowing that you are not asking, you are deciding. Now hear this carefully. Desire is built when she cannot predict whether you are interested or not. When every sentence you speak could be interpreted in two ways. When your gaze carries an intention that you do not verbalize, it is as if she feels something is happening, but she cannot prove it. And that drives her insane because female desire does not function like male desire. Men desire what they see. Women desire what they must imagine. And if you give her no space to imagine, if you reveal everything from the start, if you let her know that she's already on a pedestal, she loses interest. You must speak to her as if you know a secret, as if you are not impressed, as if you could leave at any moment and she will feel it. That feeling that you are not trying to trap her, that you do not need her validation, that your world does not revolve around her, that hypnotizes her. And this is where a Machiavellian principle enters. Never allow the other side to believe they are in control. Even if you're polite, even if you smile, even if you seem cordial, you must be the one who leads the conversation where you want it to go, not by force but by subtle direction. Ask questions that push her out of her comfort zone. Use uncomfortable silences. Respond calmly, as if what she says does not affect you. And when she tries to impress you, do not react. Observe her. That will unsettle her, because most men praise her for any trivial thing. But not you. You are an anomaly. And women do not desire what they understand. They desire what confuses them. I want you to understand something deeply. A woman does not remember exactly what you said. She remembers how you made her feel. And you must become the man who makes her feel alive through intrigue, through restraint, through the sensation that something more might happen, but not yet. And that not yet is what keeps her hooked. Because if you give her total emotional security from the start, she relaxes. And when a woman emotionally relaxes around a man she barely knows, she loses desire. Mystery creates hunger. Ambiguity creates obsession. Speak to a woman as if you are hiding something, not with lies, but with intention. Give her double-edged phrases. Look her in the eyes slowly, then shift your gaze as if she is interesting but not unique. That subtle disregard, that slight distance, that air of control, triggers her desire to validate herself through you. And in that moment, you dominate the entire conversation without saying almost anything. If you achieve this, every word you speak carries more weight. Every pause becomes an invitation to desire. Every glance becomes an unspoken promise. And she will want more. But we're not done yet. Now I am going to teach you how to use your environment, your body language, and your energy to create an irresistible aura of mystery without saying a single extra word. Before you speak to a woman, you are already seducing her. Even before you open your mouth. Because attraction does not begin with what you say. It begins with what you transmit. And this is what almost no man understands. Most men believe they must wait for the perfect moment to start a conversation, when in truth, the conversation already began the moment you entered her field of vision. Your walk, your posture, the direction of your gaze, the way you occupy space, all of it speaks louder than any sentence you could rehearse. You could have the best lines in the world, but if your body transmits neediness, anxiety, or weakness, she already felt it and you already lost. That is why Machiavelli said, "He who wants to be feared and loved must appear that way before he even acts." Your energy is your real first impression. Not your clothes, not your haircut, not your smile, your energy. And that energy is cultivated in silence. It is the product of a mindset that does not seek topplies but to influence. A mindset that does not seek approval but respect. A mindset that does not beg but disqualifies. So listen carefully. Before you speak to a woman, you must enter the room with clear intention. Not with the desperate objective of picking up a girl, but with the attitude of a man who is already desired. Walk as if everyone already knows who you are. As if you are the invisible owner of the room. As if your presence alone alters the atmosphere. You do not need arrogance. You just need to be present. And that is what makes the difference. A man who is present, who does not live in his head, who is not judging himself, radiates magnetic energy. Because while every other man is distracted, nervous, performing, pretending, you are simply there observing, feeling, analyzing. And she senses it. A woman detects the man who does not need to make noise to be noticed, who does not run after attention, who does not justify himself or explain who he is. That man intrigues her because he seems inaccessible, he seems dangerous, and yet in control. That contrast is what excites her. Now listen to this carefully. When you speak to a woman, your energy should arrive before your voice. Look at her before you greet her. Let her feel that you are present, that you are looking at her, not with desire, but with intention. Do not compliment her right away. Do not apologize for interrupting. Do not act grateful for her attention. Speak as if you already knew you were going to capture her attention, as if her response does not change your state because that control, that detachment, that emotional solidity shows her something that most men never do. Dominance. Not over her, but over yourself. You must be the man who does not flinch. The one who does not fall into games. The one who does not need to prove anything. Your voice should be deep, slow, almost hypnotic. Do not over-explain. Do not tell her your life story. Ask questions that go to the core. Give her silences so she fills them. Create moments of tension that make her wonder what you are thinking, because in those moments she begins to imagine, and as you already know what a woman imagines, she begins to desire. Now listen closely. Never enter an interaction trying to avoid rejection. That immediately puts you in a weakened position. You walk in as if you are the prize, as if you hold the key to an experience she has not yet lived. And the truth is you do, because most men who approach her do so with anxiety, desperation, awkwardness. But you do not. You are an anomaly. You know what you transmit. You choose every word. You control the atmosphere. And that unsettles her because for the first time, she does not have emotional control of the situation. And when a woman loses emotional control, she becomes attracted to the one who has it. That is power. And power, as Machiavelli said, is not negotiated. It is imposed but not by force, not with shouting, not by showing off. It is imposed through presence, intention, energy, through a gaze that does not flinch, through a voice that does not rise or fall, through a calmness that drives her insane. So repeat this to yourself. Before I even speak to a woman, I am already seducing her with my silence, with my posture, with my detachment. And when I finally speak, she is already in the game. She just does not know it yet. And that is where your true power begins. Speaking to a woman is not about exchanging words. It is about slowly entering her emotional universe. And if you do it well, every phrase you say can become a psychological trigger. One that activates her desire, her curiosity, her need for more. But to achieve that, you must completely change your focus. Stop thinking about what you have to say. Start thinking about what you want her to feel. Because women do not fall in love with words. They fall in love with the emotions those words make them feel. So listen closely again. Your conversation should not be logical. It should be emotional. Your goal is not to inform. It is to provoke. And here comes one of the most lethal weapons in seductive communication. Ambiguity. When you say something that is not completely clear, something that has double meaning, something that can be interpreted in multiple ways, she starts thinking. And when a woman thinks, she begins to imagine. And when she imagines, she gets emotionally involved. For example, instead of saying, "You have beautiful eyes," say, "Those eyes must be hiding more than one secret." Do you feel the difference? One is a basic, predictable compliment. The other is an invitation into mystery. You are not directly telling her she is beautiful. You are leaving an idea in the air, one that she must complete. And that is far more powerful, because now you are not seeking her approval. You are controlling the game. Now here comes an even more effective technique: controlled imbalance. When you speak to a woman, you must not be fully available emotionally. You must create small doses of uncertainty. She should not know for sure whether you are interested or simply enjoying the moment. Doubt is what keeps her hooked. You can say something like, "I am not sure if you're the kind of woman who can keep up with me." You are not telling her you like her. You are not rejecting her either. You are offering a subtle challenge, and that makes her want to prove herself. That is where her ego enters the game. And when the ego enters, desire follows. Now listen to this. Your tone of voice is just as important as what you say. A slow voice with deliberate silence creates tension, and well-directed tension becomes attraction. You do not need to be funny. You do not need to be an expert in interesting topics. You just need to master your rhythm, your presence, your intention, and above all, never fear silence. Most men, when there is a moment of silence, rush to fill it with anything. That is a sign of insecurity. You allow the silence because you know that space, if handled well, makes her feel that something is coming and she begins to want it. A powerful conversation is not an interrogation. It is not a list of empty questions. It is a dance. One where you lead but make her feel like she is the one moving. Remember this: women do not want to understand you. They want to feel you. And if you can make her feel curiosity, intrigue, safety, emotional tension, then you are no longer speaking to her. You are touching her mind. And that, my friend, is the true lethal art of speaking to a woman. Most men make the most expensive mistake when talking to a woman. They want to be liked. And that is the problem. From the very first moment, their intention is contaminated by the need for acceptance, the desperate desire for approval. And do you know what happens when a woman senses that? She loses all interest because in her unconscious mind, the one who seeks validation places himself beneath her. And you must never be beneath her. You do not talk to a woman to impress her. You speak to see if she is worthy of entering your world. That clear. Because just being attractive does not mean she deserves your time, and that mindset must be visible in every word you speak. When you speak to a woman, do not focus on impressing her. Make her want to impress you. Change the dynamic. Do not answer all her questions immediately. Do not give her full access to your story. Instead, drop lines like, "There are things I only share when I feel the person deserves it." That creates intrigue, but more importantly, it creates value. You are making it clear. Your attention is not free. You're not seeking validation. You are Theon who sets the terms. And that changes the entire energy between you. Another brutal technique. Break her pattern. She's used to hearing the same things. You're beautiful. Do you have a boyfriend? Can I buy you a drink? You don't know none of that. You show up and say something that breaks her mental script, something unexpected, something that knocks her off balance. For example, "I didn't expect to find someone with such a calculated gaze." It is not a typical compliment. It is not an insult. It is an ambiguous statement, a soft provocation, a line that forces her to respond from a different place. And that gives you control. Now pay close attention. The most attractive woman is not the one who talks the most, but Theon who reacts the most to you. Your goal is not for her to just listen. Your goal is for her to react, to laugh, to be confused, to challenge you, even to tease you. Whatever it is, as long as she reacts, she is emotionally connecting. And even a small emotional connection is the first step toward her mind starting to revolve around you. Remember what Machiavelli said: men in general judge more by the eyes than by the intellect. Everyone sees, few understand. Women too. Women judge based on what they perceive. And what they should perceive is a man who is not trying to be liked, but a man who knows he can conquer if he wishes to. And when that confidence is combined with detachment, presence, and emotional mastery, you are no longer just having a conversation. You are building an atmosphere where she feels intrigued, challenged, and sad without knowing how drawn to you. So repeat this before every interaction. I'm not here to be liked. I am here to dominate. And if you do it well, she will want to stay. Dominating a conversation with a woman does not mean talking more. It does not mean interrupting her, correcting her, or trying to show you are smarter than her. To dominate a conversation means to subtly guide it exactly where you want it to go without her realizing it, without it feeling forced, and without ever being accused of manipulation. It is a subtle art, a dance between leadership and grace, between control and the illusion that you are not in control. And the first thing you need is to understand the emotional direction of the conversation. Most men focus on the topic. If she mentions movies, they stay there. If she talks about work, they adapt and ask more about it. But not you. You use the topic as a vehicle to steer the conversation toward emotion, because what truly matters is not what you are talking about, but how she feels while she is talking to you. For example, she tells you she had a rough week at work. Most men say, "That sucks, what happened?" "Predictable week," you say. Then I suppose you deserve town plug for a while, though not everyone knows how to do that properly. Let that sentence hang. Ambiguous, mysterious, with a hint of seduction. Then smoothly you pivot. By the way, have you ever done something completely irrational just on instinct? You have just shifted the conversation from her annoying boss to her impulsive emotional side. That is emotional direction. That is how you slowly guide her toward desire, pleasure, contradiction, instinct. That is where attraction lives in the emotional space, where her patterns begin to break. Another essential technique: smooth transitions. Never say changing the subject. Never force the pivot. Instead, connect with something she says and expand it into something more provocative. Example, she says she loves nature. You say there's something wild about nature, something that reminds us not everything should be controlled. Do you control everything in your life, or do you ever let something stronger take over? Now, you are not talking about trees. You are talking about control, surrender, power. You are provoking introspection. You are planting the seed of losing control, and that stirs her deeper instincts. Now, here's an even more powerful move. Ask questions she has never asked herself, because when a woman is surprised by what you make her think about, she starts to associate that feeling with you. And that builds emotional connection. Lethal examples. What's something most people would never guess about you, but if they knew, it would change everything? What is the darkest part of your personality that you do not show to everyone? With what kind of man would you lose control without even realizing it? These are not casual questions. They are designed to target the unspoken, the unguarded, the forbidden. And if you make her feel seen at that level without judgment, you just created a bond few men ever reach. Remember, you are not controlling what she says. You are controlling what she feels while she says it. And once you do that, she will not just talk to you. She will wish the conversation would never end. Now, speaking to women is not about impressing them. It is about activating their unconscious. And aspermized, if you made it this far, here is a specific technique you can use tonight to make her think about you without understanding why. It is simple but powerful. When you are talking to her, look directly into her eyes and say this in a calm, firm tone. There's something about you that attracts me and unsettles me at the same time. I do not know if that's a good thing or dangerous, but it is definitely not ordinary. Then go silent. Do not explain it. Do not smile. Do not break the tension. Just hold the silence, because that silence will devour her from within. Why does this work? Because you're introducing ambiguous attraction, a mix of approval and challenge. She does not know if you are depraving her or sensing something dark in her. And since the mind hates the unfinished, she will start thinking about you again and again. You just dropped an emotional hook, one that triggers doubt, curiosity, and fascination. And if you deliver it with the right tone, it is almost impossible for her not to react. Her subconscious will start trying to solve the mystery you planted, and you will be the only one with the answer. Now you know you do not need to beg. You do not need to perform. You only need to learn to speak in the language her unconscious cannot ignore. If you made it this far, like this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop of the knowledge that most men will never understand. See you in the next